definitely to lose out to Zendaya.
So 2026, or at least the rest of 2026, is going to be the year of Zendaya. The young actress is set to star in 4 major films and the 3rd season of the show Euphoria. She has The Odyssey, comes out in July. That's probably going to be a pretty big hit. As will Spider-Man, Brand New Day. And Dune Part 3. Pretty impressive. However, the first film of her year was The Drama, released April 3rd of 2026. So the drama kind of sticks out like a sore thumb though, doesn't it? I mean, Euphoria is a pretty popular show. Spider-Man's biggest superhero franchise out there. The Dune franchise is pretty big, and, you know, Chris Nolan made The Odyssey, and who doesn't like Chris Nolan? So what do we have here? Is this a nice launching point for her big year, or is this kind of like an early misstep? Is this going to make some money and be a hit, or is it going to crash and burn? Well, before we answer that, let's talk a little bit about the plot for the film The Drama.
Let us talk plainly.
So The Drama follows Emma and Charlie, a seemingly perfect engaged couple, but the relationship begins to unravel in the week leading up to the wedding after a shocking confession from Emma comes to light. What starts off as a stylish, slightly offbeat romantic comedy quickly spirals into something far more uncomfortable and psychologically intense, forcing both characters and their friends to wrestle with questions about love, morality, and how well we can ever truly know another person. So what works in this film? Well, the film lives and dies on its 2 leads, and thankfully it absolutely thrives here. Zendaya brings a layered, quietly volatile energy to Emma, balancing charm with something far more unsettling beneath the surface.
She is really good.
Meanwhile, Robert Pattinson delivers one of those performances where you can practically see the gears turning in his head. His slow, emotional unraveling is both fascinating and painful to watch. Together, they have an undeniable chemistry, shifting seamlessly between awkward humor, raw vulnerability, and outright tension. Their chemistry on screen is palpable.
Great acting.
Also, the film is really well paced. For a story built around a single, increasingly uncomfortable premise, it never feels stagnant. Instead, it steadily escalates, peeling back layers of the relationship in a way that feels deliberate and controlled. It also deserves credit for tackling an incredibly difficult and controversial subject with a tone that walks a tightrope between satire, drama, and dark comedy. Whether you agree with this approach or not, it's pretty bold. And rarely does a film this uncomfortable remain this watchable. What doesn't work in this film, however, is, well, it's really not that it doesn't work. It's really all going to depend on how you feel this film tackles its core issues. Now, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but some people are going to think that this movie is perhaps not very sensitive, or that it really tackles the theme of violence in a very underdeveloped manner. Now, I personally didn't, but I can easily see how people go into this film, find out what it's really about, and think, wow, it really doesn't fully address that. Maybe not as much as they want. And also, while I think Zendaya was brilliant as Emma, the script kind of glosses over a bit her motivations. At times, the film seems more interested in provoking a reaction than grounding its character in believable emotional logic, which can, make certain decisions feel forced or unconvincing.
It feels forced?
Still, that being said, and even with those faults, The drama is hard to shake. It's messy, uncomfortable, and occasionally frustrating, but anchored by two fantastic performances and a confident sense of pacing, it remains a compelling film from start to finish. You know, it may not fully stick the landing, and it definitely is not going to fully stick the landing for everyone, but it's exactly the kind of risky conversation-starting film that feels increasingly rare. Do I think this is going to be a massive hit? No, it's not. It's going to be a small hit, I think. But I really think it's a good start for Zendaya's year. I wouldn't be surprised if people look back on this year, and even though this one may not make as much money, this is the one they point at and say, you know what? Her acting was the best in this movie. So, I would definitely say see it. It's been out in the theaters a couple weeks now. If you wait a couple more weeks, you could stream it. So, don't worry about paying any theater money for this one. But I would definitely suggest seeing it when it hits the small screen.
That was pretty damn good. Brilliant.
Well, that's it for me this week. Tune in next week where I give you my thoughts and feelings on whatever I've seen. In the meantime, click that like button, subscribe, leave a comment or a question, share this video with friends and enemies alike, and as always, thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next week. Take care.